If you are new here, my name is Jody and I'm the owner of Maison Camellia, a small batch textile studio located in South Carolina. And today I am heading to my very first farmers market. So it's Saturday and this one is in Florence, South Carolina. It's the City Center Farmers Market. I've only been there once as a shopper and it was super cute. So yeah, come along. It is a little bit after 10 and the market has just open, and I'm just going to do a small little pan. It's really cute here. So I am up under the canopy and I am set up right here, so I'll give you a peek at my booth in just a moment. But there are vendors up here under the canopy, and then there's also a small section of vendors that are further down there. But one of the things I love about this organizer, they provide the table and they provide the tent. So I have an 8-foot table set up for this market. So it is a little before 10:30 and the market has been open for about an hour and a half, and I've had one sale, but the weather has just started clearing up. It's been drizzling a little bit off and on since I got here, and I also forgot my phone stand, so I'm actually going to see if I can kind of sit you guys. The tent that I am vending under is strapped to this post, and so I think I can just sit my phone right there. Well, that works out nicely. So yeah, there are a handful of people who are starting to show up, but not a lot. But chatting with some people. Hi there, good morning. I am first time vending here, and I will put one of my business cards in the bag because I do have an online shop and everything is available online. All right, and you are all set. It should be on its way. Thank you so much. Have a good one. All right, so that was nice. I ended up making, that was my second sale. So book sleeves, that's my second book sleeve sale. I did a hardback book sleeve was my first sale, and then I just sold a paperback book sleeve. So this is probably going to be my last little bit of video from this market. It is raining, so yeah, most of the people have either left or I guess aren't coming now. It is, well, it's just a few minutes before noon, and so there's 1 hour left of the market, and I've had to pull all of my stuff back in, but thankfully I don't think it's getting wet right now. I'll show you from this side as well, so you can see the rain is just barely missing, and thankfully the organizers have sidewalls that you can also request. So I only grabbed one though, and I'm thinking maybe I should have grabbed more. Hello. But I have had, I would say, a great market today, you guys. I am very, very pleased with how it has gone today. This is going to be a really short video, but I've had 3 sales so far, but my average order value between those 3 sales has been really, really good. So even though this market ended up being cut a little short because of the rain, I truly left it feeling energized and so appreciative of my local community. And I'm going to give a shout out here to just a handful of the vendors that I met. Breads and Threads directly next to me was so super sweet, and she graciously gifted me a mini sweet potato bread loaf, which was absolutely delicious. So if you're in the Florence area, please go check her out and support her, buy her breads. It was absolutely delicious, as well as Bewitching Roots, who was directly across from me. She grows almost all of the florals and herbs for her handmade teas, and she makes tinctures and body scrubs and honey and all sorts of other wonderful things. So I'll link her down below as well. And then also the very sweet, and I did not catch her name, Vivid Knacks, and I ended up buying a pair of earrings from her. She was just, you were so cute and so sweet. So I am going to link her down below, and she is a vendor who is, I would say, just getting started and honing her clay jewelry skills. So check her out as well. So yeah, so even though it was cut short by the rain, I left feeling so energized and just loving this little local community of growers and makers. So let's dive into the recap and chat about why this $10 market was actually one of my favorite wins of the season thus far. So this was the City Center Market in downtown Florence, South Carolina, and the venue is so cute. I don't know a ton about it, but I know it's like an older complex or something that has been turned into this market facility. So it was so cool. They have, like, people can rent out a kitchen facility if they sell baked goods, and they have spaces for rent for other types of makers as well. So it's just the organizers, it's really, really cool. And I'm just so excited that I finally got the opportunity to give vending here a chance. And I love that it's so close by. So it's only about 30 minutes away from me. And as I've mentioned several times probably in this video, they provide the tent, they provide vendors an 8-foot table, and it's just $10 to vend. And it is a weekly year-round market, rain or shine, and at certain parts of the year it's open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then I think during the height of the growing season it's open from 8 a.m. I think also still till 1 p.m. So the market this weekend was scheduled to be open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it did end up closing early, as I've mentioned, because of the rain. But I just can't say enough great things about these organizers and just the vendors at the event. That's one of the things just in general that I'm loving about doing this so far, is getting out in the community and meeting other vendors, meeting other makers, and just really feeling the community. I know that's something I personally, as someone who has worked from home for the past 15 plus years and not really having a strong connection to my local community, my heart, like my spirit is just loving getting out into the community and doing this and meeting people. It really, if you are a maker, or just for me personally, maybe you share the same sentiment, that just being out in the community and meeting people face to face is just such a wonderful, nourishing experience. It really does. It's feeding my soul, and I know it does a lot of others as well. So setup and what I brought, oh my God. So right, because they provided the tent and the table, I really didn't have to bring a lot for this market. It was so nice to not have to bring my tent and worry about setting that up and lugging the tables. It was so nice to just already have that there. So I really did pare back on what I brought for this market. That said, I did try and bring pretty much all of my products except for my tote bags. I didn't bring any of those because I wasn't sure of just how to display them or hang them for this market. But I brought my boxy bags, I brought my pouches, I brought all my straps, my mini pouches, I brought both sizes of my book sleeves, I brought the bowls that I have, I brought my lavender sachets and my reading ritual cards and bookmarks. So I really did bring everything else, and I'm really happy with the way my setup turns out. I did mock it up in my dining room the day before. I measured out feet and mocked up how I wanted to display everything, and then I took a couple of pictures of it so that when I actually got to the market that it was easy to set it up the way that I had planned. So that worked out really, really well. So what sold at this market, and I ended up making 3 sales total, which is about, I guess, a sale an hour. Yeah, and I'm looking at the times of my sales here in Shopify. So the first one was at 9:44, the second one was at 10:30, and the third one was at approximately 11:30. So yep, right on the nose there, about a sale an hour. But what I sold was I sold 1 hardback book sleeve, I sold a paperback book sleeve, and then my last order I sold one of my mini pouches with a matching ruffle accent strap and one of my large boxy bags. So those were my total sales for the day. It ended up being $223.56 and 5 items total. And my average order value was just under $75 at $74.52. So I am so happy with that for the ease of this market, and yeah, everything taken into consideration. I could not be happier with what sold at this market, which brings me to what surprised me, and this is just kind of cool. I'm going to share. So when I first, since it was my first time vending at this market, I got there, I knew where my booth was approximately, so I got everything unloaded and on my cart and carted it to my tent area, but I wasn't sure where vendors park, and so one of the other vendors was walking across the lawn, and so I stopped her to ask her where vendors park. But it was so cool when I was asking her where vendors park, she stopped me and she was like, "Do I know you?" And she's like, "You look familiar. What's your name?" And so I was like, "Hi, it's Jody," and she recognized me from YouTube and told me that she had been watching my YouTube channel. So that was just so cool to meet you and to run into you. Yeah, I was not expecting that, and it really surprised me, and that's my first time that I've been recognized out in the wild, as you could say, from this channel. So it really just made me realize how small, what a small world it is, right? That's probably the most surprising thing that happened during the day, other than the rain, although I'm not going to harp on it, but it's like, so it's fun trying to figure out what the weather is actually going to do. Because all of the weather apps have completely different forecasts. At least that has been my experience recently, which I guess really is the only thing that did not land for this market for me was the weather and the rain ending it early, but it was just handled so well. I was game to kind of hang out and see around noon is when it really started pouring, and I was game to just hang out and roll with it till 1 p.m. to see how it went and if it cleared up. And there were surprisingly still people. The people in Florence who shop this market, they're serious, because there was still, I saw at least 2 people who still arrived when it was pouring rain to come out and shop. But the organizer came around at noon and told us that it didn't look like it was going to let up anytime soon, and that we were welcome to start packing up, because they didn't expect that too many more people were going to come out. So Lessons learned. Probably the biggest lesson for me for this market, and this is just kind of like an overall look into my market strategy in general. So this was officially my 6th market, and I just started this journey in March for those of you who have been following along. And if you are new here, I do have my Starting This Business Journey playlist linked down below, so you can get caught up and kind of see see the journey thus far. But one of my main strategies and goals for this first year is just to learn the markets in my area. And I do have kind of a strategy of learning like my main large markets that I'm going to rely on a yearly basis. And I am looking at the market season, at least in my mind, as the spring and summer market season and the fall and winter market season. And then just for me personally and my brand, the summer, like the dead of summer, like July and August, I'm kind of seeing that as a time that I'm not really focused on markets. Same thing with January and February. So spring and summer, I'm looking at it as being truly March through June. And then fall and winter, I'm looking at it as mainly being September through December. So that's kind of like the market season as I am viewing it. And my strategy, like I said, really is this year to figure out like some larger like anchor markets that I can make sure that I do in the spring and the summer, but then also to find some really good small easy to vend and set up at markets that can be kind of like my little bread and butter markets that I can on a whim decide to add and plug into my schedule throughout the year. So that's one of the reasons why I'm really so happy to have found this market and tested it out, because it really can serve as one of those add-on markets, because it is a year-round market. It's a year-round rain or shine market, which is just a really great opportunity that I can plug it in when I need to. Now, my expectations are not that I'm always going to vend for 3 hours and make $225, but given the $10 fee and how easy and close it is, and that I don't have to pack up a tent, I don't have to pack up a table, I can just bring my products and set up. So that is kind of my strategy. And so, yeah, my biggest lesson that I learned from this market is that I think that's a good strategy. It's, right now with the way things are going, it seems like it's starting to fall into place. And I'm learning from each market and learning which ones I'm going to return to and which ones are not maybe the best fit for my brand. So what am I changing next? For this specific market, I do think that I need to, if I'm going to continue to vend at this market, even though they do provide the tent and they provide the table, they do not provide a table cover. And for this market, it was kind of short notice. I did not have time to purchase an 8-foot table cover and have it delivered. So what I ended up doing is just using one of the curtain panels that I use to hang around my booth for the indoor shows. And so that's what I used as my table cover. And it actually worked quite well, I think, for this market, but it would look nicer if I had an actual table cover. So I am looking at investing in one of those for the future. And I will also consider bringing some of my other items, because I did notice that a lot of the other vendors also brought additional tables and brought additional setup. So I could bring my 4-foot table, or I could bring one of my little standing folding shelves, which I did almost bring. I tested it out, but I decided not to. I just decided that to keep this easy, which really is my strategy for these types of markets, to not add an additional table, not add the folding shelf, to really keep it, just as easy and simple and stress-free as possible. And also, just a wonderful thing about this market is I was able to buy some local patty pan squash that I cannot wait to cook and eat this weekend. So that wraps up this little mini market vlog. I really tried to make this one shorter than some of my other ones. So if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. All right, take care.